So hi everybody, how you doing today? I'm just starting to do some things on my trailer again, and I'm building a gantry crane on the back side of it. So we'll take a look at that and I'll show you how I built it. So this here is the arm, and it's made out of 2.5-inch square tubing, and then it's got, believe it or not, angle iron from bed rails, and I've trussed it out here so that it's got lots of integrity. It'll be really strong, and basically it's mounted on the side of the trailer, and it pivots at that point right there, and then this whole arm right here will swing up and hang 45 degrees over the back of the trailer so that I can lift a load and swing it onto the trailer. And then there's going to be another attachment that bolts onto this plate right here that comes up and goes across the top over to the other side, and then this here mount right here will be mounted on there, and that cylinder there will be hooked in place, and it will actually pivot that thing up and do this whole transition from this position down all the way up to hanging over the tailgate. So keep watching. I'm just doing a little rundown on what I've got done so far and what I picked up. I got some steel cut for the sides, some 12 gauge steel for the sides, and some 3/16 for the bed of the trailer. And I'm going to put a angle iron up the frame in the middle, notch the frame, and then weld it underneath onto the car trailer. And then on the bottom of this plate here, 3/16 plate, I'm going to put another piece of angle iron, so it's going to have like a rib up the middle that slides in a rib up the middle. So that will be advantageous to, alignment and strength when it gets loaded. So I got some 12 gauge steel for the sides and 3/16 for the bottom of the bed, and I'm just drilling a couple holes to accommodate the nuts on the inside of the box holding the rollers. That's what I'm doing now. So here's my side panel. I'm going to cut it off 2 inches so that the seam ends up right in the middle of the post. So there's the post where it goes there. So I just go in 1 inch, 7/8 of an inch, and then I'm going to take the plasma cutter and buzz it as long as my seams end up on the post. Now I want to make it so that this gap right here between these 2 sheets of steel, that gets closed up and properly sealed so that no water gets in there, because that would be just like, come on in, water. So I got to caulk that really good, weld it to death, and then caulk it real good. So there's the first piece of 14 gauge steel put in the side of the trailer. Not welded, but I cut some holes down there with the hole saw. I think I'm going to trim it a little bit more up top here because it's tight right here, and bring it in a bit more so there's no gap there. But I think that'll do it. So I got some flat bar here. It's I think it's 1 1/8 by an 1/8, and that's going to add reinforcement to it big time. But I'm going to use this as the little cross pieces in the leg here. So I'm just going to cut a piece up and fit it and tack it in. Right here. Then I'm going to go halfway between this bar and that bar, so it's right in the middle. I can mark it, but I don't think close enough. So now, what we need to do, we need to do the same thing on this end and make two of these structures with a 2.5 inch square post in the middle, and then trussed on the outside like this, all welded solid. And it's the same size as the material that's on there, so that's what I need. Use as much as we can. Okay, so that'll fit there. I weld that right on there, and then this here gets cut off. Straight edge here. This way. Cut it off. Right there. There. Perfect. Make 4 of those. 3 of those. Round on. Put a clamp on here. Let's see if I can't pull that tip down. If I can't, I'm just going to slit it. And weld the slit and grind it and make it look pretty. Because I'm not all about making stuff look crappy. There we go. This debris off here, there used to be a pocket that came out here, and I just whacked them off with a plasma cutter because I wanted to, you know, make things happen quick and size things up, and I figured I'd clean it off after. Well, here's after. I'm cutting it off now. Finally. Kind of a thankless task, but it has to be done.
Get a chisel. I'm going to get a chisel and a big hammer and see if I can't get behind it and peel it off. Alright, here we go. Big ass chisel and hammer. And there we go. Sweet. Just popped right off because there wasn't much holding it. And that's what you want. Okay, now I'm going to grind that off nice and clean so I can put this perch on here. Because this cylinder is going to mount on that perch. And it's going to make that frame, that arch frame, pop up in the air. I'll have to extend this, see how far it goes. And then I want to mount the arch somewhere there, the base of the arch, the doohickey like this here, and it's going to mount right there, and it's going to come up 80 inches, and then there's going to be an arch across the top, kind of like this thing. So I got that pocket cleaved off there, and it's smooth now, and what I want to do is I want to make a mount for that cylinder right there. So I need to locate wherever this is going to be here, and for this little ear over here, this little ear right here, to weld onto it. So it's going to be on the side of the trailer, and it's going to go that direction. And then I'm going to find out what the full extension of it is, and then when I join the gantry crane onto it, and I add hydraulics to these cylinders in the future, I will be able to make this thing hydraulically operated instead of using the electric winch going through a snatch block and a clamp setup. And this will just do it all by itself. And it will also, I'm hoping, be able to lift anything heavy like an engine or anything, you know, super heavy. Anyways, I'm going to go about this, do some measurements now, and kind of figure it out on the side of the trailer here. So from center to center, it looks like it's about 43 inches. So if I just off the top of my head said that this extended out another 40 inches, because the piston and the caps and the ends aren't any more than 3 inches. So 43 inches from that center, 40 inches from here, so that will swing up 45 degrees, and that will be, if the arch is there, this will be back here, extended. So I'm going to have to move this back maybe to here. So cleaning this off is good and all, but I think we might have to move it to here. I'll measure from the front of the trailer, from the very front of the trailer, to a point right there in front of the second tire. So I'll put this here. It's going to have to go into a notch in the fender, because I can't have it up here, because that's just kind of lame. Something really strong in there. Cylinder. Because I'm thinking if this thing extends 40 more inches, it's going to be mounted there. So if I weld that right there. So there we go, we got our second arm started. All I have to do is fill this in here and then put the webbing in. Here's the arm that swung out to the back of the trailer. It actually goes up more than 45 degrees, but I think by the time I get this cylinder in place, it won't swing out as far. But it's good to know that if I ever wanted to lengthen the cylinder for whatever reason to make this go straight out, I can. So I was able to do an initial weld, position weld on the arm here. And I got that piece right there, welded in there. I just got to extend this piece of angle iron into that scenario and make it look pretty. But that's full extension. And that's mounted here. And that's a little more than 45 degree tilt. So that's good. So, and then when this goes up with the hydraulics, it lays down to about there. And the reason why it lays down to there, I want it lower, and it's because it has interference right there. So I just need to knock off a little more material in there so it spins inside the throat of the end of the shock there, and then that should have it. I made these pins out of CV shafts, hardened CV shafts from a Subaru. My old Subaru shafts, they're the right size, 1 inch. So I'm just going to weld a washer on the head of it, and then I'm just going to take the grinder and grind a groove in there and put a C-clip on it so it doesn't come off. But it can come off when I take the arms off to mount them on top of this end of the fender, and then there'll be another little end here, and then I'm going to lay the posts, legs, arms, whatever from the gantry crane right over top of the wheel well, and they'll serve as the tops of the fenders. And you know, obviously it's full of holes, so what I'm thinking of doing is welding some plate steel from like there, kind of on an angle like that and like that, and then come down till we come the width of the arm here, and then go back down to about that wide at the other end, and put some kind of a traction material on the other side, because this is the flat side, obviously. That's the flat side. And make them so that they mount on back here and are somewhat adjustable in a general vicinity here on both sides, and use them as the ramps as well. So that kind of fits the theme of the
Swiss Army trailer. So anyways, I'm going to just carry on here. I'm going to call that a wrap for now. I'm going to finish this gantry crane and get it functional. Maybe get the rest of the steel on the rest of the trailer, weld the bed down and stuff. So thanks for watching, and subscribe, like, all that stuff. I appreciate it. Thanks. See you in the next one.